Pow! We're live. Oh, we didn't talk about who's going to talk at the top. Hi, Andrew. I'm just staring at you.
It's me. I'm Andrew. Hi, welcome to Tales of Initiative. I'm doing the intro, apparently. Today, we're going to be running Out of Orbit, a game I am funding right now over on Kickstarter. You can get the links where you get links over in the chat. But this is a game all about being together and the complicated relationships that we have and survival and all kinds of fun stuff. I'm a big fan of Lost. This is basically taking Lost, putting it in space, and doing all kinds of other crazy stuff. So this, the first session of this happened last week. We are going to do tonight and then one more episode to kind of wrap up our little arc. I am so excited with how week one went. I'm gonna do a little recap, so if you didn't see, you'll get a little bit caught up. A lot of it was character creation, so it won't be too hard.
Glorious,
but yeah, this is
character creation.
Exactly, yeah. So if you weren't here last week, do we need to do anything else before I get into a recap, Matt? Help me out here.
Let's do our boners, Discord, Patreon.
Yeah.
So, we've got the Kickstarter link in there, so go check it out. If you've not already funded it, it's funded. It's fully funded. We should minor little celebration. Woo! It's fully funded. It is happening.
Heck yeah.
You are going to get a zine in the mail, so you should 100% go back it. And we also do have our usual sponsors, like Into the AM, with their cool, dope graphic tees. I'm wearing all my space ones for this. And then we also have, if you would like to not just be in community with us over on our Discord, but you can also pop over to our Patreon, where we have some polls and suggestions live right now. So Tales of Misadventures is gonna be coming back soon, and you can vote right now on what systems we're going to run over there in Raz O'Clock. And you also can suggest entirely new systems that aren't on that poll to be featured in following arcs if you are at our Teller of Tales tier. There are too many T's in that blurb for me to get through all the way. The skeleton ran out of shampoo in the shower. I think that's it. I think that's everything.
Awesome. Well, yeah, let's get into Out of Orbit. Before I do a recap, I think we've got a little intro to share.
Courtesy of Andrew and his amazing editing talents. Let's go to that Billy style motherfucking transition.
Mayday, we are going down. Mayday.
Repeat. All
It's
personnel
like it's pulling us in.
Oh no, it's the wrong screen! Haley! Pay no attention.
Welcome back. The man behind the curtain was busy. Well, welcome back, everybody. Yeah, so Out of Orbit. Last week, our first session, we were introduced to a cast of characters, many of which were in the middle of some very serious injuries. A ship on its way through frontier space crash landed on a strange planet outside the orbit of any star, and this planet seemingly would be barren and lifeless, but nonetheless we find vast landscapes teeming with foliage, life, and strange little oddities here and there. And as our crew landed, the camera kind of panned around over the wreckage as we learned the current state of things being quite hostile. We also discovered, thanks to Conlon, that we are in a silica desert. So this stuff is not good for you. If it gets in your respiratory system, you got some problems. It also is essentially you're getting sandblasted while out and about. So our crash site is quite hostile, as well as part of the ship broke off on entry into the atmosphere and fell a few miles west of where we crashed. So on our very first mission cycle, we set out with some of our crew off to locate medical supplies and other rations and food as we were growing quite in need of it. Additionally, we have yet to establish a more permanent camp. And so while venturing through the sands, we eventually saw in the distance a very blackened mesa rising up. And as the terrain kind of shifted, the party made their way through this region of like tar pits and puddles that were bubbling and moving. And as a massive rumble racked through the ground underneath them, they all began to scatter and run towards the mesa and hopefully avoid whatever horrible result this rumbling would bring. No, it was not a sandworm. It was in fact just a big ol' earth burp. And that let the tar go flying as they climbed up the face of the mesa, avoiding this searing tar. But unfortunately, we did lose Boris along the way. But it may have not totally been Boris's fault, as another one of our more nefarious characters in party named it's George, right? George is the nefarious problem child. May have had a hand in Boris's downfall. But now atop the mesa and venturing into what looks like a blackened wood of fruit-bearing willows, these strange droopy blackened trees surrounding them. They gathered up some rations, so we got a couple resource points. I think it was just one actually.
I think it was one for food,
for caring for food. And then we ventured forth through these trees for a bit. Notably, we encountered some strange sacred geometry on the ground, some visions, and some other concerning sights in the distance as we ventured down into the valley ahead towards the smoking wreckage of the tail end of the ship. In addition to all of that, I missed some other stuff, but there's also some looming silhouettes that we've seen around the initial crash site that were popping up on the dunes, and there's been some weird stuff going on. So, as we enter the moment now, we're actually going to do a couple things. One, in light of the fact that we do not have all of the players from last session, and two, in light of the fact that narratively, this actually works quite well. So, we're going to try out one of the mechanics, which is essentially roll to return. The party was out on a mission, and in a normal campaign structure, you're generally trying to complete a mission cycle of going out, doing some stuff, and coming back to camp. We went out, and now there was opportunity to continue that narrative a bit deeper, and it's not that the narrative is necessarily resolved, but we can resolve some of it a bit more expedited and then get back into a more traditional loop. So this also lets us reset with maybe some less survivors going out on missions and kind of tighten things up rather than having to manage multiple characters that are out and about. So as we arrive now at the wreckage, we'll focus on just the survivors that the three of you are embodying for now. I'm just gonna ask some questions, and we're gonna see where this goes, and then we'll resolve this, and then we will roll to return to camp. So, as you venture down into this valley, much of the landscape is this almost charcoal-like blackened color. It's very monochromatic, and you venture down into this very dark plume of not into the plume, but near this plume of smoke coming up from the wreckage in the distance. And you can see the crashed the trees that have been broken and snapped by the wreckage as it plummeted from atmosphere into this valley now. And as you get closer and closer, you can see there's bits of not necessarily like luggage, but like there's parts of the ship itself. There's some things scattered throughout the trees in the distance, and you begin picking over them, looking for anything useful as you approach the wreck itself. And let me make sure I've got straight who's embodying who right now. So Matt, you are...
I'm on David, who is the
David, right?
Stubbornly skeptical corpo who suffered a heat stroke on crash landing and has rock collecting as a hobby.
Yeah, let's do a similar recap for each. Conlin, you are George.
Yes, the con artist with a secret addiction and a hobby of being well-traveled who suffered a concussion upon impact.
Okay, and Taylor, who I believe you are Hope.
Yep, I was looking for the sheep, but
No worries. Yeah, it's totally fine.
there we go.
Um,
So Hope sustained a head injury upon crash landing. She has a history of being a medical officer and enjoys hiking.
Right. And so as these three, as well as two others, which were, help me out here, we had Wallace.
This is Wallace with Gromit back at camp,
And-
the parent and
correct.
child. Yeah,
And
Yep.
I think it was
Stephanie.
Stephanie. Yeah.
that's right.
Stephanie, yep. And Stephanie had just had that spooky moment with that geometry and stuff. So,
Mhm.
so she's probably lingering back and just kind of keeping an air about things.
Yeah.
But the three of you making your way towards this wreckage, what are your personal agendas right now? Think about like what motivated you to go on this specific mission to recover things from the crash itself, and give us a little sneak peek, a little snapshot of, as the camera kind of pans across the group of you, what are you specifically doing? And I'll start with Conlon.
Rad. Okay. So if I can, I want to do like a little micro flashback just to kind of set the stage. So I think we flash back to a few days before as George is sifting through all of the medical supplies that we actually had back at the other place, and Boris comes in and catches him, trying to find some chemical, who knows what, secret addiction, taking some medical supplies, well, like something like morphine, something like that.
Yeah.
That was like in that medical kit. And so George both, I think, is here now, knowing that Boris was coming and having an opportunity to maybe keep this addiction secret by getting rid of Boris. And or looking for more of the stuff, whatever it is. And so I think that's kind of where we are. So that scene, and then we kind of pan into George, sort of itching a little bit as the
So
meds
he's
wear
looking very specifically for medical supplies.
off. Yeah.
Awesome. Yes, definitely love it. Love the micro flashback. You can still log that as a flashback if you'd like to.
Sure.
And that can be your free one for the day, and then anything beyond that typically costs a drive when on a mission. So you log that. And what do you want to call that flashback?
We'll call it George's medicine,
Okay.
with medicine in quotes.
Yeah. Very cool. So, and for those of you joining us, if this is your first time, a big part of this game is structuring flashbacks, which can be as brief and summarized as what we just did, kind of going back to add some justification for some actions, or as involved as us doing an entire improv scene where we play to find out the results of something within a character's backstory, because these characters grow, quote unquote, more complex, if you will, not necessarily powerful, but by way of us exploring their backstory and doing things with them in this setting that we are in. So you have events and flashbacks that kind of build up your character sheet. Beyond that, you just have health and drive. So as we continue through some of this scattered wreckage, as we're going towards the larger mass of the tail end of this ship, Matt, what are you up to?
I think David is. We don't see any of those weird, creepy specter silhouette things right now.
Nothing
right?
weird
just,
right now.
Just the crash shite. Okay. I think
The crashed shite. Yeah.
the crash shite. Yeah.
I thought
I said it. I did not mean to say it. You caught me. You caught me in a slur. I think David is. This is not a flashback. It's technically a flashback for audience purposes, but reminder that like Margaret told him to specifically look for weapons, and those seem to know each other. But that not diving in deeper than that. Just I think he's just being very analytical. He's just being like, okay, crash site, check.
Like cataloging,
kind of. Cataloging and just like being very sort of like not just cataloging what is there, like not just seeing what's there, but also like, oh, this container looks completely smashed up. What would have been in there?
Right.
And like sort of like taking notes on, I imagine like future tech kind of thing. Like we've got like some sort of like Pip-Boy equivalent kind of like thing that can at least like take some notes and stuff. So he's just being very methodical, checking from box to box, container to container, area of the ship, and noting things that are or are not there.
Very cool. And Hope. Taylor, what is Hope up to right now?
playing music apparently. I don't know if that came through. Whoops.
Nope.
Sorry, I don't know what that was. Beautiful. So, Hope is. This is on our way back to camp, is it? Sorry.
No, this is kind of like heading into the tail end crash site in the trees, like in the valley where we're approaching like the smoke and looking around and seeing the things from like what the resources that we're kind of hoping that would be here.
Yeah. So probably talking to I forget who it was that I was able to identify the fruits here.
Wallace.
Haley was with Wallace.
That was Wallace.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember if it was Wallace or Stephanie. And just gathering up, seeing whatever they have on them, considering they lost their extra pair of hands in Boris, whatever they have on them to sort of like maybe weave a basket or
okay, so to collect more of those resources.
Collect more to take back.
Yeah, definitely.
Obviously, no one's willing to remove any of their clothing and their mask for the silica sand. So just trying to be as resourceful as possible.
Yeah, I definitely think you probably are going to be able to find something in the wreckage too that could help in the way of carrying additional things. As you all approach, I'm going to see. Randomize.
Random tables of destruction.
Exactly. Okay, so I like that. Taylor with Hope. As you're kind of looking through and kind of grabbing what kind of crates and stuff that are nearby, that some of them have been scorched, some of them broken, scattered, and looking for anything that's kind of intact that you could gather up some of the fruits. You start getting closer to the wreck itself, and you also have all been keeping eyes out for like any signs of additional survivors from the wreck, and you don't hear anything. I mean, the initial crash scene there was the living quarters, right? It was the primary portion of the ship that had crashed into the middle of the desert where most of you all were, but there definitely were crew throughout the rest of the ship. And so you begin to kind of look, especially considering all of the awful things that have happened in the last week. You begin to look around for any signs of people having been here. And you can see near the wreckage itself, there's still like that smoke that's been billowing, and it's been a week. Like, it's still going. There is clearly something still burning inside of this wreckage that's causing that. So that could bring up some red flags for you about the safety of the area. what are you most concerned about right now? Would it be the wreckage? Would it be the potential for there being other people, or it could be any other looming threat? What concern does Hope have in this moment?
Once the fruit and everything has been secured, probably checking if there are any other survivors, but knowing that something has been consistently burning and smoking for a week, the toxicity in the air probably as well for that.
Definitely.
And if people are still here, then what their status is going to be, being so close and breathing that in.
Yeah. Okay, for sure. I think that you'll be able to like call that out if there were threat in terms of like anybody getting too close, where that could be a possibility. But as you're looking around, go ahead and throw a. We're just gonna have you roll a test for kind of investigation, looking like for signs of people. So you can call on any tags that you might feel like are appropriate on your sheet. And again, you're rolling 2d6, and the number of tags you assign can help us make it perform better and interpret that 2d6 differently. For our audience, the way the system works is if you have no tags on your sheet whatsoever that feel relevant to the task at hand, you roll 2d6 and you take the lowest result. If you have one tag on your sheet that feels justified and relevant, these are flashbacks and events, then you can roll 2d6 and take the highest. And if you have two tags or more, you can roll 2d6 and add them together, and that is your final result. That goes against a DC. When we're in a more threat-based kind of encounter, we have a couple other functions that allow the players to put their thumb on the scale, manipulate the DC a little bit, and then it's a shared DC, of course, throughout the entire round. But for you right now, Taylor, what do you got?
I actually rolled 2 4s.
Oh, okay.
And
I guess regardless, do you think you have 2 tags, or do you think you just have maybe one that could be relevant?
Medical officer feels relevant for like searching for people.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe like checking for blood splatters and drag marks, maybe. Yeah.
That's fine. So I think that's going to be a failure. But regardless, it's again, keeping in mind how a lot of this works, you are going to see that there is in fact some blood near some of these crates as you're getting closer to the mass itself. Again, keeping like very intentional placement in regards to where that plume of smoke is, and it's a very black smoke. As you see this kind of bloody part near the wreckage itself, there is clearly, as you stated, drag marks near where this blood was, and it is off in the direction of the woods. And as you see this, your blood just kind of runs cold for a minute. And what as you are as you notice this, what do you want to do with that information initially? Are you just kind of keeping calm, looking around, or addressing it to the rest of the group?
Yeah, Hope would address it to the rest of the group, and then seeing that there's obviously evidence of survivors, look for any sort of medical equipment, or if there are any like thin metal poles that she could use as splints, if need be, any wires that could possibly be used as oh my god, what's the word? What are they called? Tourniquets. And then,
definitely.
General, anything that could be used as a substitute medical instrument, and any med kits, whatever.
So you're going to roll to recover some resources right now. So that's based on the difficulty of the zone that we're in, as well as like then of course like how you're interpreting your tags is how you're going to roll. So the difficulty of the zone that we're in is going to be a 4. And the current threat level of the area around us is a whopping 2, right? So like there's a threat of the area around us. So you're trying to beat a 6. Luckily, I think you have a couple relevant tags for assessing what would be good for medical supplies and equipment and things along those lines. So go ahead and I think go ahead and call it your tags, and we'll see how you roll.
Well, medical officer.
Yep,
Would
definitely.
be one tag, and I rolled a 2.
You rolled a 2.
I rolled a 2.
All right. So as you're looking around and beginning to gather things, why don't you let's do this. Let's go to the. So this is going to be a major consequence. So we're going to go to the rolling table if I can find it.
Whoa.
Darn long Google Doc. Darn it.
I know the
Where
feeling.
did I put anything?
I swear this is in here.
I made this game. I don't know anything.
Scrolling.
This is why we have a search bar. All right. We're looking for consequences. Gotta love that. All right.
I don't want the consequence.
I don't want no consequences. So
I say that so many times in this darn book. Okay.
I thought this term was specific. One
We're
of
moving on
37.
because I don't want to find that table right now. It's somewhere else. Okay, so here's the deal. The major consequence, if it were just strictly damage or a clock, that can give you 2 points of damage, or it can give you 2 progressions on a clock. In this case, I think what's going to happen is as you're looking around, you've got this blood splatter. You're starting to gather up things. You're trying to keep aware of everything around you. You look up at one point, picking something up, and like kind of in some of this wreckage where the plume's coming out, there's a fairly large portion of the back of the ship just sitting here that we could hopefully be able to get inside and get more supplies from. But you look in and you see just the smoke, and then for a moment you swear you see the form of a person standing in the smoke, just looking at you. What would you?
Are they like this silhouette of?
They're a person in smoke, so effectively, yeah, it's a silhouette of a person. You can't see too much beyond just like, wait, oh my gosh, I think there's somebody standing in the smoke right there.
And this is the same smoke that's been burning.
Coming out of the ship right now. Yeah, that's coming out of the tail of the ship.
Hope would make sure that all her face shields and everything are in place, and then call out to them saying, hey, get out of that smoke. Like, are you okay?
So you kind of like start pushing in. Yeah. So you start pushing in, you've got your mouth covered, and as you're calling out to this person, you see their arm move, and you can see like towards the wall there's like a pipe of some kind, and you recognize pretty quickly that's a fuel line. And as their arm moves towards it, you just and you get thrown out of this interior that you're stepping into. As the smoke was building out, this explosion goes off, throwing you back towards everybody else and past that blood splatter on the ground near the pile of supplies that you had been gathering, and you lie there on the ground. As far as both George and, help me out, Matt. David, yeah, George and David, what are you two doing as this explosion goes off inside?
Looking to figure out what's happening. Like, is the explosion progressing, or was it just a once and like done? Like,
Yeah, in the immediate moment, it was definitely just an explosive moment, and then you saw Hope just being hurled through the air, like out towards where you guys are.
I think at first is Hope, get over there now. Oh shit, that was Hope. Just like wanders over and is just gonna check, is she in one piece? Like, it's just like checking to see what is, how bad is this?
Yeah. So I'm gonna say real quick, because it was a major consequence. What we're gonna do is, you are in the smoke. So we're going to have you take 2 points of damage from the explosion. But you know that the smoke is quite dangerous. Basically, if anybody goes into the smoke and stays there for any significant amount of time without their face covered, they are going to start a clock of essentially inhalation and other subsequent problems that'll come with that. So yeah, you're going to take those 2 points of damage, and you're not dying, but that hurt.
I don't feel great.
No, definitely. George, what are you up to?
I think George is probably away from the dangerous side of things, looking for medical supplies and the fix.
Yeah, definitely. So as Hope and David are kind of like gathering up what you had seen, I'll give you two a moment real quick, just like Hope as you're kind of coming to from the shock of being thrown out of the ship.
What the hell happened?
There was someone in the smoke. I think they waved at me, but no, I think they were just pointing at the pipeline.
I'm gonna look over at the smoke. Is there someone standing in the smoke? Is there another body ragdolled somewhere?
No, there's nothing in the smoke. Just lots of smoke coming out of the side of the ship.
How do you check somebody for brain damage?
You ask the doctor.
I asked the doctor, physician, help me to heal you. How...
Are my eyes pearl?
Pearl?
Sorry, pupils. Oh shit! Now I gotta remember the acronym. Pupils equal in reacting to light.
Quickly, get like a little flashlight and. I think so.
Did my pupils contract and dilate with and without the light?
Yeah, mostly. Yeah, like gets it too close and it's just like doing a horrible, very. Yeah, I think you're okay, but there's no one there.
Okay. Just monitor me for any confusion. We don't have a blood pressure cuff. If I start to get really confused or really, really tired, that's not a good sign.
I mean, seeing things in smoke, I would chuck under confusion, but we'll gloss that over.
That was before this.
Okay. Are you good enough to keep searching, you think? We should move quick before more explosions happen.
Absolutely. Stay away from that, obviously. Do not inhale smoke under any circumstances. That is never good. Cannot treat inhalation burns here. I do not have the equipment for that. You see electrical lines, do not touch them. Look for
list
stuff.
the full
Insert massive list.
I think David's just start
exactly.
like, I'm listening, but it's just gonna keep working.
Yeah. Medical shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so to resolve this scene here, I think that we're gonna roll individually, mainly because I'm curious if George finds stuff first, what happens, and then we'll go from there. So how about because Hope's kind of not in the best state right now. She's got her little pile of stuff for like tourniquets and whatnot. But between Matt and Conlon, why don't you guys go ahead and both go ahead and roll. Go ahead and call out any tags specifically for searching for things specifically. It doesn't have to be pertaining to medical stuff, but in general. And we'll see how you guys do.
I was thinking rock collecting for like searching through stuff and like Colin's had a brain blast.
What the fuck is happening? I rolled like one time last session and I rolled 2 6s. I just rolled again and I rolled two 6s.
Oh boy.
George is immortal.
George.
Oh my
George,
gosh.
This is early season Lost. The bad guy has
Yeah.
to do
Yeah.
well, otherwise.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
How can he become the sweetheart?
Exactly.
Isn't that Sawyer?
Yeah,
Wasn't he the
definitely.
dick?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely hoarded all of the medical supplies.
I was gonna do
Great.
rock collecting for like searching through stuff and finding like
Yeah.
you know the good amongst the bad, and then also stubbornly skeptical. Like the explosion going off is like a normal threat. It's
Oh.
not like a supernatural threat. So he's not
Yeah.
like getting fritzed out. He's staying focused.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. See if you can beat double
Sure.
sixes.
I can't beat double sixes, but I did get a 9 because I got two
Okay.
tags, so I get to add them. So just 9.
Great. Yes, definitely very good. So that's definitely helpful for the recovering of resources. So we know that both of you have found stuff, but George found the good stuff. So there were some crates that were intact next to others that, you know, there's glass and liquid and all of the things you don't want. But you're able to recover like that sweet you know, substance that you're looking for, as well as a good amount of base level equipment. So we are going to the most important thing that gets found, I think, probably with Hope's guidance, would be there is like it's like a crash cart kind of thing. So
Oh,
like
nice.
it's essentially like some machinery all on like some like little dolly kind of thing that you can move around. It's somewhere between super analog and maybe got like some AI, like, you know, super scanning abilities and whatnot. And but like you get this cart and you kind of wheel it out. What do we want to call this thing? Somebody help me name it.
Crash
The medical
Hyperdoc.
crash cart.
Well,
Sure.
what'd you
we
say,
can just call it the
Colin?
crash cart.
I said the hyperdoc,
The hyperdoc.
Ooh.
like a DOC.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so you got the
Branded
hyperdoc kind of
hyperdoc.
like, and it's got like decent wheels on it. It's made for like being taken off, and if you're on a frontier world, you know, wheeling it around. So it's like decent tires, not little terrible like wheelie chair.
It has like a little bit like
tires.
loose sort of Jeep suspension happening. It's not like
Oh,
rigid
yeah, there
legs.
you
It can
go.
go over rocks. It's not completely screwed.
Yeah, but this is great. It's got a lot of like sanitary compartments. You know, it's got bandages and some of those basics that you'll need. But as you guys are gathering all this up and beginning to get yourselves ready to go back, George, as you get what are we gonna call this substance? Because we're making it's space drugs / medicine.
Space meth.
Fuck. Red. We'll just go with a color.
Red.
That's like very sci-fi.
Ooh,
just like
yeah. All right. So you've got this box of red, and as you have that moment of tension, I think maybe not that much tension. We know who George is right now. But what is this? There's something that's going to happen as you get this box that maybe causes him to feel, I don't know, maybe like not so sure about his selfless motivation in this moment. Just briefly, does he see something? Does he feel something? Does he hear something? What causes that second guessing?
Yeah. I think George sort of overhearing what's happening. So I'm gonna like toss in. I think red is like a treatment for like neurological damage. Just to kind of
okay.
tie in with what's going on here. Like, you know, typically you'd be using it to like stabilize someone who just got a concussion or something like that.
Yeah.
When you use it like extracurricularly, that's not the word I'm looking for, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Recreationally. There you go.
There we go.
Thank you. Extracurricularly, I like better. You do it as a, you know,
Use it after school.
yeah. So yeah, so I think when you use it like, you know, recreationally, it is sort of makes you focused, but like I'm kind of imagining like the eye drop things from Cowboy Bebop, if you know that, like they like make you kind of angry but like focused. Yeah. So I think something like
it's
that.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, so I think George is like realizing that there is a conflict here between like his addiction and the need for like there were probably a lot of head injuries like from this crash, and like he's I think having that moment of just like shit, like, and I think maybe depending on which way he goes
Might
with
I
it,
be
like
a not good guy?
yeah. Did I just kill somebody over drugs?
Okay.
Yeah,
definitely. So as he has that moment, and kind of, do you end up like just hoarding some of it and then giving the rest of the box, or is this like what is he actually doing here?
Yeah, I think he. So I don't know. So with double sixes, is that just like a crit? Like doesn't matter
that's
what
as crit as it gets. Like you found exactly what you were looking for and in abundance. So like this is a significant, like to give in game terms, again, any amount is a significant amount. So like this is 2 levels of a resource die amount of medical equipment that you found that is very valuable. So big deal that you just found this.
Yeah, so I think he kind of does 2 things. He takes some for himself. I think that kind of con artist secret addiction thing. He like has a moment, he pops the box open, pockets a few of them, enough that I think he's probably used to like rationing, right? Like he it's a secret addiction, not like a full addiction. So like that, and then he's got the con artist background, which is fun. Sorry, 1 second.
No worries. So what we're gonna do, and I'll go over this again when he's back. But what we're gonna do is, because there's 2 resources, we're gonna get a little preview into how resource die work. So he's taking some for himself. So what I'm gonna have you do, Conlon, is for George, go ahead and roll a D8. If you roll a 1, 2, or 3, one of the 2 resource levels is going to deplete, and so you will have taken enough for it to have mattered. Yep.
Cool.
So roll that D8, and on a 1, 2, or 3 is bad.
It's a 6.
There you go. So you, like, to your point, like you're able to ration it. You're able to get enough to get your fix for a good amount of time. Leave the rest for the group. So we got 2 resources of medical equipment. Resource points of medical equipment that have been recovered. The group is able to kind of gather themselves. There's clearly more to be recovered from this other crash site. So this is a good place to especially send like a B team to like, hey, go get more stuff from the other site kind of thing. There's plenty more to be salvaged by way of like the actual ship itself. There's plenty of metal, scrap metal, stuff like that. But you guys realize it's getting a bit darker. It's in that twilight time of day, a little bit more that like I had totally written about and completely forgot to talk about last time. Is the days are very the actual daylight time is very short. It's about an hour to 3 hours depending on time of year. That's actually true daytime. Otherwise it's pretty much a like strong dusk kind of experience. That is due to the fact that this does not orbit a star, but instead orbits a black hole. That you have seen the accretion disk just in the sky, just this like slanted beam of light often. So as the planet is just kind of floating, it gets that kind of strange day-night cycle. And as it is getting dark, you've been out for the majority of the day, heading through the sands, up and over into the mesa, now into this valley. You've got a bit to go back. So we're going to roll to return. We have recovered 1 food resource. We've recovered, I'll call it 3. Yeah, we'll go 3 medical because we gathered like tourniquet supplies as well on top of that. And then the crash cart. So we are heading.
I was wondering, was David able to find any weapons?
Good question. Let's roll for that. Let's double check.
Because I think if we found medical supplies, David might could I have parlayed the 9 that I rolled just into finding weapons instead of that extra resource?
No, I think so. Yeah, you'll probably we'll go with 1 on this is kind of our starting batch of resources, so we can definitely grab 1 resource towards weapons. And I need to pull my sheet up so we can log stuff. Here we go. Camp. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna see if all of those resources make it back to camp.
Oh no.
We are rolling to return. So we're going to see what it's like on the way back in a more expedited fashion, and then we're going to enter into the camp phase of the game. So for rolling to return, let me get my rules up here. What are we doing?
What are we doing? We are playing, for those
What are we doing?
joining in on stream, Out of Orbit, which is a game you can go back on Kickstarter. Kapow! Check out the link. Yeah. Keep
Yeah, we are
double
fully
posting
funded right now. But basically, every bit that goes into the game at this point is just going to make it better. I'm not doing stretch goals this time around, but the more that this book performs well, the more content I can put to it. Personally, more time I can justify working on it, adding art, making it awesome. And yeah, please check it out. Get yourself a copy. It's gonna be lots of fun. So for roll to return, here's what we're gonna do. We have traversed through two zones essentially. If you think about this as a point crawl,
Yeah.
we were in the camp. We went in through the desert biome, and then we went to the mesa itself.
Mm-hmm.
And
that
so
was where
those
the
are kind of
forest
our
was.
main points. Yep.
The mesa, yeah.
The little calculation, if you will, on roll to return, it's the number of places traversed. So again, we had those actions that we performed. So we traversed through 2. And so we double that. So it's double the number of places returned, and then it's the current threat level, like that determined by the GM. So it's a little modifier on top. So we traversed through 2. So times 2, we're at 4. Difficulty is then going to be modified by the current threat level. Well, as far as y'all are aware, there's not any major threats between there and here, other than the possibility of sandstorms, stuff like that. So the
more tar
current
burps.
GM, exactly, tar burps and whatnot, but it's things that you would know. So there is no additional crazy threat. We're just going to throw a modifier of 1 on top of it. So what that means is there are 3 different thresholds for the threat modifier, and then that kind of gives us the consequences of failure. So whoever is leading the roll to return, you are going to roll against the DC. All right, so that's going to be the same thing where you're going to justify tags. You're going to roll 2d6. You are leading the troop on the way back. I think that's probably going to be Hope, because she's got hiking at least going for her. But y'all can make that decision. And you're going to be rolling against I think it was 5. So you're trying to beat a 5. If you succeed, great. You make it back with everything. If you fail, you're going to take 1d4 of damage. And we're going to lose 2 carried resources.
No.
That can kill somebody. That doesn't mean it all goes to you.
Yeah.
But we will take that damage, and you'll have to
you
divvy it
spread it
up,
out.
essentially.
Okay,
Yep.
okay.
So
like,
we can kind of assign it, and then we narratively decide what happens.
Yeah.
So essentially, if somebody gets totally messed up and we lose a character, and then resources were with them or something like that. So, yeah. Do you guys want to have Hope make the roll?
I hope it
What?
sounds
It looks
good.
like yes.
I have a thought, depending on what Hope would be rolling with. So you have hiking, right? Would that just be 1 that you have to base on this?
yeah, because I don't think medical officer would really equate to like walking back, and then prejudice against authority. But then
Yeah.
Probably not.
Wallace.
I was gonna say, can we use the other characters that are narratively here? So we've got Wallace and Stephanie that are
That's
here.
true. Yes, definitely.
I was thinking Wallace, parent and child. He's used to traveling somewhere and keeping track of everything as you're going.
Yeah.
Like, where's the kit? Where's that?
Okay.
Where's that bit?
Yeah.
And then
Remember to pack this.
yeah, and then meditation, just keeping calm over long periods of time. I'm pitching
All right.
it.
I'm into it. No, I'm good with that. Yeah. Do we want to have Wallace lead this?
Yeah.
All right.
Hope's probably still a little concussed, so
Hope's
That's
concussed.
fair.
Yeah, I got
That's
thrown
fair.
aside by an explosion. Who wants to roll for Wallace?
you advocated
I
for him,
mean-
you roll.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Regret. No. We said
You need to
difficulty
beat
was
a 5.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get there, so I spend a point of drive to be able to reroll. As it reroll both dice or just one?
It's a full reroll, so you pick up the dice and you roll both of them.
Cool. It was double 2s. It's not gonna work.
Oh no.
That is double 3s. Incrementally getting better. It's more than a 5. I will take the 6 because I had 2 tags for 2 affinity. So I get to keep
that'll
both.
beat it. So that's a success, and you all are gonna make it back down the mesa carefully. That crash cart was probably the hardest thing to get down. Like, that was the drive moment, right? So narratively, what do you feel like happened there? Did you like?
I think not to lean into a flashback, but I think like a minor flashback is very early on, Wallace hiking with like, or just like on
Gromit.
a stroll, walk with Gromit, but like in a stroller, and like forgets to put on the brakes, and then like just like stops, takes a bite of granola bar, looks back, and just the stroller is moving, so, just like running after, like gathering it, keeping it from wheeling it out into traffic. Yeah.
Definitely,
Not
So like we got the
real life
cart
experience at all.
down safely. Took a little side route to get it down on a more level part of the mesa. And worst thing about this cart was getting it through the rest of the sand.
Oh,
Because if you've ever pulled a wagon through sand, it's brutal. So it ends up being quite late when y'all return. You know, like you've got some crates that you're carrying, you know, you've got additional resources from this this successful trip. But nonetheless, you make it back quite late. Much of the camp is quiet, and you know, you can see like the fairly large campfire that's been made just going in the background. Couple people are still out walking around, patrolling.
It's like an hour into the desert, and we realize we can fold the wheels up and just slide it. And it's like, oh, we should have done this fucking an hour ago.
We've done that the whole time.
The whole time.
Yeah, Stephanie with her mechanics probably could have crafted something like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Whips up
All
a
right,
quick
so
sled.
as you return, we're gonna go over some of the rules for establishing camp, because for the moment, this is still going to be camp. Even though it is not a great place to be,
it's
still where we are at the moment. And there's definitely going to be like rules for moving camp and all that stuff. It's a whole operation, right? It becomes a mission to escort and move all that stuff over a period of time. But for us right now, this is still where we are. So you get back, you begin to, you know, organize the goods that you have as you're returning with the resources. I would imagine Margaret has kind of appointed a couple people, we'll get to that, to what is now becoming a somewhat of a militia, like a watch of a group of people that are circling the camp with the few guns that we have, making sure we know what's up at camp. Because we haven't seen a whole lot of wildlife out here, but we have seen other stuff, and we are concerned.
We saw the silhouettes. They were spooky. We've got a clock on those, don't we?
We do. This is where I'm going with that. Mm-hmm. So, in establishing a camp, we are now entering into a camp phase. This is part of the cycle of the game. We are essentially just now entering into the traditional cycle. So, in a cycle of Out of Orbit, you have the camp phase, which occurs at the end of a mission. We're going to kind of do a short mission after this and get back to camp phase, and you guys will see a full cycle. But pretty much each player at the table is responsible for a hub. This does not have to be tied to a character per se. Often it will make sense if you chose to do that. For example, you know, like if Taylor wanted to be in charge of the medical hub because she was just doing stuff with Hope and it feels in line with what she's doing, she could be over the medical hub. But basically all the players get assigned the hubs. All of the hubs do need to be assigned. So there are going to be cases where people can have more than one. It's really just you're responsible for tracking stuff, rolling certain dice when it comes up, and you know, reminding people where we're at on those resources. So with that said, if you go over to our sheet on the camp tab,
get a whole
on
new
our
character
sheet. Yeah, so the camp is a character. That is a big part of this game. There's also details that are not present on this sheet for a longer campaign. But at its simplest, the camp is made up of 6 basic hubs. We have command, which is managing the social side as well as the leadership side of things. Their resource die for that hub is morale, which I do have that labeled. Good. And then we have engineering. Engineering is over making stuff because we are in a strange, wasteland, and the resources we have are limited. So this is everything from structures to potentially weapons, all kinds of basic stuff that you'd need to make a camp better. We have a kitchen because we need food and water, and we need that managed and making sure that we can safely prepare it. We have medical for managing medical supplies, i.e. medicine, healing. Practically, it performs a lot of the healing of the wounds of the survivors as they go out on missions. You have the science hub, which is more about investigating and understanding the specimens and wildlife. So the actual, the resource die for science is actually specimens. And we have security, which their resource die is weapons and ammo. Each of these hubs has, at base, 2 basic functions. So you have like a function or an ability that lets you, a bunch of people just got a ton of ads, so they didn't hear any of it, but y'all did.
We did.
But basically, you've got access to a action that likely supports the camp phase and the quality of life for everybody there. And then an action that allows you to support specifically the mission phase. So, for example, if you look at, let's say, kitchen. So, like, you're able to practically affect the morale die size, having a feast or making everybody, nice and happy and full of food. So you're able to increase another die size by depleting the food resource. Similarly, to support the ongoing mission or the missions that people go out on, you're able to prepare rations for multi-day trips, which are going to be expendable things that you need to be able to use while you're doing kind of a point crawl function through the game. The other really straightforward one is going to be medical. Medical is about healing people coming back from a mission and making essentially health potions, right? So these are consumable med packs that go out with people. They also can make, I doubled up on saying crash kit, didn't I? What do we call it? What do we end up naming it as? The hyperdoc. Okay, so the hyperdoc is essentially something that's going to be a part of the medical hub itself, right? And so the crash kits that you can make, so there's 2 things the medical hub can create, which they can also make a crash kit, which is kind of like a spare the dying kind of version of a consumable for people when they're out and they fall unconscious. So yeah, each of these has a function. Like the security is able to equip weapons to people, all that fun stuff.
Oh, nice.
So take a second, look these over, and see what might tickle your fancy. Y'all are gonna get a bit more of a premier choice than the people that aren't here. But I will have but regardless, we can have each of you managing 2 of them for our purposes today. So take a look, see what looks interesting, and let me know.
I have a proposal.
Yeah.
In classic, we're doing a science fiction thing that is like Lost. I feel like command needs to be a dichotomy between like the socialist communist kind of person that's like, oh, we all got to help each other and like that whole thing, and the person that's like very like, nah man, you got to look out for the number one, the one that's just like, that person's gonna die anyway, we can't waste medical resources. So I think Pewter, our asteroid miner who helped build all of the houses that we built, like all the shelter and stuff that we built, kind of falling into that de facto command role, like kind of where the group is going now. But then if I can kind of propose this is like, who's at command? Like I'm arguing that I want to take command. I want to do the command.
That's fine.
But I think I think Pewter and George. I think George is now like kind of returning hero, come back, like hyped up con artist. You know, he's kind of like telling this story of just like, yeah,
Winning
man,
people over.
I tried to save Boris. I did my best, but we tragically lost him, and it was all we could do to get Hope back. She was horribly injured. And like the story kind of like spreading around, and he's like telling like, oh, I found the hyperdoc, like, you know, going around like telling all this stuff, and now there's sort of a dichotomy, like a challenge to Pewter's authority from the sort of faction of people who is like,
amazing,
the capitalists, we should take care of the best people, and the come on, we gotta like actually look out for each other.
You gotta contribute to the camp. You know?
Yeah.
I love it so much.
Yeah, and that all was great. I like I said, the nice part is like it makes sense to be like, oh, I'd like to do this because it syncs up with characters I'm playing, but also it doesn't have to, right? Because all of these characters could float between anybody, and the hub is really just like your responsibility to keep track of, for the purposes of like setting mission objectives and paying attention to how we're doing in that space. Very cool.
I'm gonna pitch for security that I'll be on security because I feel like David is like, is just like kind of like having that like, wait, I need to be like getting in on the ground floor of this George Pewter situation. Like I need to put my name in the hat, and like it's just like bringing the guns over to like where Marge has set up shop, and she's just like, they don't actually control anything. And it just like just keeps filing away like
terrifying.
In a hellscape. Well, who controls things? The people in control or the people with the guns?
Right. Oh gosh. Yeah. I think we should take a quick break. We can get final assigned stuff when we come back. Sound good?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Cool. We will do a 5-minute break and then be back with more hub assignments and more Out of Orbit on the other side. Catch you in a little bit, get some snacks.
While we're away, go check out the Kickstarter.
Go check out the Kickstarter. Yes, I'm gonna do the stinger and then go to the thingy. So
do that.
Be back in just a sec.
Mayday, we are going down. Mayday.
Repeat. All
It's
personnel
like it's pulling us in. Mayday.
Repeat. All
It's
personnel
like it's pulling us in.
We're back.
All right, back into the action. We were getting into the nitty gritty of actually assigning players to the different hubs of our camp. These don't need to be set in stone, right? These are for the purposes of just making sure we're keeping track of stuff. So for now, we're pretty much going to discuss everything as a group. But if we were running a longer campaign, assignments would matter a little bit more. But for now, I like narratively that we've got Pewter and we've got George kind of working in command in a lot of ways. And then there's, we've got another very clear leader in both
in
Martha and then yeah, exactly, over in security. I feel like, tell me what you guys think about this. Like, I feel like obviously with Hope being medically talented, begins to step into a similar leadership role in a lot of ways in people coming back and needing medical support and whatnot. That said, we don't have to per se assign people that are always here or anything like that. You could go to the medical tent and get a band-aid, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of the idea of managing the hub. So let's, for right now, let's just assign some stuff and divvy it out. I'll just go one by one and we can disagree and argue if we want to. So Conlon, what do you want? Of the six for now?
I mean, I think command was the one I was most interested in to start with.
All right, Matt, what do you want?
Security.
Security. All right, and then Taylor.
The kitchen.
Ooh.
Kitchen, very cool. And Conlon, what will you do for your second one?
I'll take engineering just to, unless someone really wants that one.
That's what I was gonna pitch for you because of Pewter. Pewter feels like he's kind of doing double duty,
That's
command and over in engineering. Yeah.
Yeah. And Matt?
I'm gonna go. Let's see. There's medical and science left. I'll go science.
All right, and then medical will go to Taylor. So, here's how we're gonna start. So, these can be as small as a D4 for a resource die, and as big as a D12. So, to start, I'm gonna give us some baseline stuff. So, morale, not great right now. We're starting that one. That is added a D6. Engineering, we only have access to materials based on the wreckage right near us. So that's actually quite a bit of materials for the purposes of crafting structures and keeping ourselves physically safe. So that's going to start at a D8. Kitchen,
Nice.
that one was quite low. But we brought back one food. So that would bump it from the D4 that we were probably at up to a D6. Medical, similar situation, but we brought back 2 points towards,
yes.
or 3 points towards medical. So we got that up
I think
to a
2 because
D-
didn't we change one of the medicals to guns?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
So we're at D8. Science, we are empty.
Sad day.
And security, we are at you just did one for guns, so we'll
So
go to a D6.
Can I make a pitch?
Oh wait. Yeah. What's up?
Or does it go from empty to D4 for the one set of guns?
So it was at a D4 when we were
Cool.
equipping people,
Gotcha.
kind of is
Yeah,
the
baby.
way that I think of it, and then we bump it up to a D6.
yeah.
So with these being what they are, whenever you want to use a function of a hub, you have to roll the resource die.
Yeah.
The math on this, as is does not change at all. There may be potentially like advancements and stuff that change it, but the rule is when you roll a resource die, if you roll a 1, 2, or 3 on that die, it depletes. Depletion just means it goes down in a size of dice. If it gets smaller than a D4, you're out. So if you roll anything else other than that 1, 2, or 3, you get the action, it succeeds, and you get all that benefit without losing any resources. Essentially, you were more efficient. You had plenty of it, something to that effect. Excuse me.
Can I make a pitch for why we have a D4 science die? The photos of the weird silhouette things.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm into that. That's cool.
It's not like a physical sample, but it is a like
no,
what the
I'm
fuckery
tracking
is
that.
happening
It's weird.
sample.
Yeah. And there's an argument for like other little bits of fauna nearby, and maybe some of the samples from what was food, could be converted over. That's the nice thing too. There's a lot of narrative flexibility with what the actual things that are narratively recovered can be for the camp for the purpose that you're trying to do, right? So if like you could say, oh, we have plenty of like specimens, but we want to do this thing that maybe like cures this certain poison. The GM could just say, you just don't have that sample. You still need to go out and get it, right? So there's definitely that kind of flexibility, but this is just kind of the generic bucket of what do you want to do with it.
Nice.
So here's how the camp cycle works. When you are returning to camp at the end of a mission, which is essentially what we just accomplished, you are awarded your resources that you recovered. You all the characters that are returning get to have maybe I'm getting it backwards. Hold on. Returning people get to have one downtime action. Going characters on the next mission have 2 downtime activities I do have it backwards. Yep. Okay. So it's returning characters get 2 downtime activities, going get 1 downtime activity that they can perform prior to a mission. So upon returning, you get access to a list I have not given you of downtime activities, because I'm still working on that list. But one of them is a very important one, and that is going to any hub for its function. Okay. So a prime example is attending the medical hub to heal wounds. You will naturally heal 1 wound while at camp.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Anything else is not addressed. So like you will while resting, because you're not allowed to go on another mission right away, right? So all 5 of the characters that are returning from this mission cannot go on a subsequent mission. They have to rest. They just hiked out and came back. So practically, you can use one of your downtime activities to rest. That does not require a hub. That does not require using anything at all. It's just natural healing. But the other actions you'll want to make sure to use. And it is 1-to-1. So if you want to go and heal 2 wounds, you're gonna need to go to the medical hub twice, and that's both of your actions.
Gotcha.
So stuff like that. Like if you're really messed up, you just have to stay at camp longer. And let me see.
So you get.
So yeah, you
heal 1. Do you heal 1 for free just for being in camp, or is that is a downtime activity is to heal 1?
You will. I think it's no. That's a good question. I think it is a actual downtime activity. Is the act of resting.
The act of resting.
Because there's
so if you
other
come back
like
healthy, you don't have to worry about resting.
Yeah.
You can just start doing stuff. But if you're injured,
exactly,
it's probably smart to go and heal that up.
Yeah. Yep. And then also like attending medical or something like that is a more active thing. So for the 3 characters that are coming back right now, you have some actions that you can perform. Among them are, like I said, attending any of the hubs. There's resting, and then there's just other stuff like for example, participating in work. Like there could be jobs. This is where like a lot of that Forged in the Dark kind of mechanics of clocks comes in. So let's say you wanted to start like building out the medical tent to be better and like make it a safer place for people to get healed up. that could be a clock that you start by working on that task. So you could start a task while at camp with your downtime activity, and it's not so much rolling to complete it, but it's actively just spending time towards that task and spending ample resources.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, for your 3 characters, think about what you want to do, think about how hurt you are, and let's do some healing up. Before we get to any of that, we have to do...
while we were away, what happened at camp?
While you were away.
Yeah.
Yes, what happened at camp. So let's get up here. There we go, event table. So we'll just do 3 for right now, rather than like all 6. So let's just focus on the first hub that you chose, and we'll just do those 3. So starting with Conlon, for command, go ahead and roll me a d6.
I am fucking on fire with these d6s.
This is
It
your
was not a
six?
6. I'm using, so I think that it's because I'm thematic. I'm using my Expanse d6s
There you go.
from the Expanse role playing
dice
game.
respect
So
that.
yeah, so they're like, oh, you're using your space dice for the space game.
Yeah.
We're gonna roll well. I rolled a 5.
Very good. Okay, so that's as good as it can get without being a 6, you know?
Yeah.
But you had a good event happen. So basically these are going to be way deeper roller tables that have specific results for each hub. But for now, I have a generic table basically that's like 1 is a catastrophe, 2 is an extremely taxing event, 3 is a taxing event, 4 is a mixed event, so good and bad occurred, 5 is a good event happened, and a 6 is no event happened, which is the best event. Because that is the one that prompts 0 rolling of your resource die to deplete. So, good event on the resource die, I'll throw to you. So while y'all were out, regarding the subject of morale at camp, something has occurred, and we'll roll before you tell me what happened. But basically, you're going to roll a resource die. It will not deplete. So you'll roll a morale die. So as long as you don't roll a 1, 2, or 3, you're going to get an increase of the morale die. So
Nice.
that's the qualifier for a good event. You might be able to bump this up even more. And then you can tell me what happened at camp while we were away. So our current morale die is a d6. You got a solid 50% chance here.
I rolled another 5.
That's great.
Incredible.
So something good has happened
So now it goes
to
for
morale
D8.
while we were gone. So what do you think, Conlon, was going on at camp that helped morale-wise? It could also be as you're coming back, right? Like the result of you coming back can affect morale.
Yeah, I think I'll keep with what I kind of said is, so I think Pewter kind of held down the camp, like things were pretty good, but George coming back and kind of like with this like the medical cart and like kind of sitting down and just being like the tales of this epic adventure that they went on,
Okay.
you know, spreading these rumors around
He's really
camp.
playing it up.
Yeah, and I think George just falls into that kind of like lovable con artist role, right? Like
Yeah.
he's a con artist, he's lying, but like when he tells you that things are going well, you're like, yeah, man, I think they are going well.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think that's what it is. I think it's the coming back to the camp. Everyone's a little down, but they come back with these supplies, and
Great.
George is just very like, we lost poor Boris, but we made friends along the way, and like he's like
So
just telling the story,
what
and
I'm
it gets
gonna
more and more
say
ridiculous.
this is gonna do is because we're gonna resolve this simultaneously. Go ahead before we increase the die size for the morale and roll the morale die again. This, because you reminded me, is because somebody died. So whenever somebody dies on a mission, that always triggers a roll of the morale die specifically.
yeah.
So we're gonna see how
Valid.
people feel about this.
How do people feel about Boris?
Got
Yeah,
I got a 4.
They're okay with it.
you played it off great. Like you're like he was a valuable sacrifice.
Boris or George like missioned like a portrait of Boris from our
Oh, who's our
painter. I can't remember who
painter?
the painter was. Is it?
Oh man,
Is it Alice? No.
No, that was
Oh.
photography.
Rip. Oh
Rip.
wait, no. Rip is the artist. One
No,
of them's the
he's fishing.
painter, though. One of them.
One of them does
Okay.
painting. It's Guy Fiery.
Amazing.
Fiery is
Guy Fiery.
yes.
Yes, he's like commissioned this like portrait of Boris to be painted and like hung in the the common room.
Beautiful. So wonderful. Well, great job on your hub rolls. Okay, so continuing on, Matt, go ahead and roll me a d6 for security. This will be interesting.
And command goes up to a D8 now because it was good on the
Correct. Yes.
nice. Cool. Security. Currently a D6. Or would I roll a D4 because is this before we get our new resources, or is this?
Yeah. This is while you were away. So this
While
is
we were
like
away.
I missed this. So this
Yep.
happens
This happens when we have
as
smaller
we
dice.
are returning, and so when we're coming back, we can affect stuff.
Gotcha. So D4 or D6 on this roll?
Let's make it simple and just roll a d6.
D6. Cool.
Yeah. Yep.
A 2. A heavily taxing event?
Oh,
It's
wait,
not
so
catastrophic.
Wait, did you roll? Okay. So you always roll the d6, right?
Yes.
For what type of event, and then we
Oh,
roll
gotcha.
for the actual
then you roll.
resource roll.
Then you for the resource.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So, so you just determined that it's going to be.
It's a bad event. There's a bad thing happened.
This is a 2. You said.
A 2.
Yeah. So extremely taxing event. Roll a resource die for every 2 survivors returning from the mission phase. So this is probably about ammunition.
Yeah.
Or like maybe a clip got dropped or
Mhm.
something like on the way out, or like while somebody was patrolling the camp, something went missing.
I have an idea for why this is what happened, but it's
Yeah.
roll it for each 2. So I roll this D6 twice now,
Yep.
or would it be a D4 when I'm rolling
Yeah.
it?
So yeah, for each, so we divide it by 2. So we
Okay.
had 5 that went out. So
Yes.
round it down. Yep.
So 2 rolls. Okay, 5 on the first one. So no dropping yet.
No deplete.
And 4 on the second one. So no deplete there.
Very good. There you go.
So I think what happened is
good.
a bad thing happened, but it didn't cost us any resources.
Yes.
So what I think happened is that on the way back, while we were dealing with the ridiculous hyperdoc trying to get it dug out of sand, someone dropped, or Stephanie dropped like the hunting rifle that she had, and it hit a bit of sand that had tar like right underneath it, and it was so hot that it started just like having the rounds go off like in the mag.
Oh
and
my
quickly
gosh.
like pulled it up. Not enough like popped off where it's like, okay, we still got some, and it didn't break the gun, but it wasn't
Oh,
great.
man.
Wasn't a good moment.
Yeah, definitely not good. You lost a couple shots, but
Yeah.
like you've got the rest of the mag. Yeah, very fun. Love it.
Not enough loss
Awesome.
to offset what we brought back.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. And Taylor. So we're rolling for. Oh yeah, you did kitchen first.
Mhm.
So let's let's roll for
I'll just-
kitchen.
before we get-
So roll a d6. This is just for determining what happened, and then we'll get into actual resource rolls.
2.
2, another extremely taxing event regarding food. Okay. So, and then let's roll the resource roll to see how it went. Like how much resource was depleted, and then you can kind of tell me what happened. So we're gonna similarly roll 2 times your resource die, which is a d6. And you don't
5.
want a 1, 2, or 3.
I got a 5 and then a 1.
All right, so it's gonna deplete once. So now it's down to a D4. We're back down on food. So even though we brought food back, we were bone dry by the time we got back. So we only have a little bit right now. So what occurred at camp regarding food while we were away?
I think maybe they thought they had things separated, and everything rationed. But with people coming and going on missions and whatnot, didn't realize that some of the portions were a bit bigger. So we've gone through the meals and all our food resources a little bit faster than anticipated, just because we were like,
Yeah.
they weren't rationed properly. Someone started off divvying up things nice and evenly, and someone else took over and made the portions a bit bigger. Somehow some of the portions got mixed up together, so just poor management in the kitchen resulted in consuming too much too quickly.
All right. Very good. So, as everything is getting ready at camp, you guys now can declare your downtime actions for these characters, and then we will get ready to set up our next mission. So,
kitchen's at a D4 now, right?
Yeah, kitchen's at a D4.
Woof. Okay.
Yup.
So we have Stephanie and Hope are hurt. Like, they have actually missing HP.
Yes.
Can they just say,
Oh.
I rest and I recoup an HP, or does that require a resource die roll at medical?
Nope.
Okay.
So rest is free.
Nice.
Additional healing is done by medical by rolling a resource die.
Gotcha. And can you only do one rest, or could Hope do, I'm just gonna do double rest?
Just the one.
Just
yeah,
the one.
just
Cool.
one rest. Yep.
Okay.
And do we get one HP back per rest?
So rest will give you back 1 health, and then going to medical can change, but medical typically, I think at default, let me double check. Yeah, heal is just going to for each roll of the resource die, it'll heal 1. So you could keep rolling a bunch as the person that's over medical, but the action of going and enacting a heal is the downtime activity. So it's not so much like you need to go to medical for all 4 health that you're missing and like have 4 downtime activities. It's I'm going to medical as my action.
Yeah.
And it says roll resource die to heal 1 HP for each returning survivor. So for example, Stephanie could go
Right.
roll the resource die.
Yes.
That'll heal her and Hope 1. And then Hope could
Correct.
rest for her second action and heal that last one up to 6.
Yes. Correct.
Okay. I feel like Stephanie should do that. Try and heal some shit. We got a big old D8. So hopefully I don't want to roll it though.
So yeah, how many rolls is that then? Is that 3?
It would just be 1, because it'd be Stephanie going for her action, rolling, and that heals her and Hope 1. And then Hope would just use the normal rest. That
Use
doesn't
the rest.
require
Okay,
a
yeah.
resource roll, right? Yeah.
Cool. Yep. And that's the thing though, like you could roll the resource die and you essentially you'll still heal them 1. It's just it might deplete.
It might
That's
cost
really
us.
the occurrence. Yeah.
Taylor, would you like to roll medical's resource die, or would you like me to roll medical's resource die?
You can. I've been rolling like ass today.
So have I. I rolled a 1.
Alright, for shits and gigs, I'm going to.
What would you have rolled?
Well, we'll take yours. I would have rolled a 1!
Yeah! You're fucked either way.
It has been spoken in stone.
I rolled a 7.
we gotta have Colin's in charge of all the stations now. But that means
There you go.
I'm just playing. It's just me. You guys go away.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna roll.
we'll be here for
Man,
narrative.
There's 100% a person that is equipped to hack this whole game to make it a solo game. It's just not me. But it'd be fun.
So that was one of Steph's actions. Hope has done a rest to get back up.
Yep.
So then that means David, George, basically everyone but Steph and Hope have 2, and Stephanie and Hope have 1 left. What do we do to get back drive?
I was just reminding myself.
Nice.
So command can roll a
Inspire,
resource
yes.
die, with Inspire to refill drive. And then I think, let me double check. There's and you can make a stim with science that essentially is the consumable version of drive that can go with you.
Nice.
So yeah, if you need to up your drive, you go over to command.
Does that do it similarly
So
to
it's
medical,
the-
where it's everyone, or just a single?
Yeah, yes, I should definitely update that text.
And is it +1 or is it refill it all the way up to max? So if you come in at like 1 out of 5 drive.
Oh, that was the difference. No, you found the identified difference. It doesn't do everybody.
It does.
It doesn't
you,
do everybody, but it does it
way.
all the way.
Gotcha.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Cool.
David's only got 3 drive, so I feel like David should go and top that up. So
Yeah.
does Colin
Park's
want
only
to
got
roll
1
it?
drive.
Or because I'm invoking it, do I roll it?
I can roll it.
Okay.
That's fine. If you want. It's up to
Yeah.
you.
I say roll command. I'm gonna refill my drive, but yeah, for David. But then
I rolled a 1.
you're the fucking God dang it. All right, down to a D6. Whoops.
There we go. Yeah.
Brutal.
Oh boy. This is fun. Yep. Gotta up that morale at some point, and the kitchen is the best way to do that. And it's
It's D4. I'm not rolling
Yep.
that at all.
low. Oh man.
I'll take that shot again.
Ooh.
Oh, you're gonna roll to up our command die with the kitchen?
Yeah, I was gonna try like with all the food and
You
stuff, like
roll
with all the fresh fruits.
A 4, right?
You have to roll a 4. It's
I mean-
the only one that gets it up, that does it
yeah.
without losing stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, with all the new fruit and everything that we've collected, any of the resources from the other camp, properly.
Wait, did we? Hold on. We brought back 2. Was it just 1 food?
We
It
brought
was just
1 food,
food.
2 medical, and
Yeah.
1 guns. Yeah.
Right. So it went from a D4 up to a D6, and then we just rolled a depletion on it
Yeah.
earlier. So back to a
Oh,
D4.
exactly,
Got it.
yeah.
Yep.
We're on a shoestring budget out here.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're at a 0, aren't we, Taylor?
We're out of food.
No.
No, you got
No,
a
I
4?
rolled a 3. I rolled a 3.
Ah. Yeah. So
Is
yeah,
that one?
we're
So it
well,
decreases.
but a 1,
It still
2,
decreases.
1, 2, or 3 all
Yeah.
still
Ah,
decreases
yeah,
the
sorry.
die.
Rough.
So
I forgot about that.
D4 is
Sorry
rough.
about that. Yeah.
There's only
No, I
one.
got a
Right, that just
three.
means our next mission has
We
to
gotta
be
find food.
food.
At least we
Yeah.
found the
Water.
trees. We just need to go and take a big box and like go to those trees and get
So
a bunch of food.
here's the fun part, right? So we didn't get to do this on our first mission because it was really like our first mission. But what we get to do on subsequent missions and the really like gamey part of the loop is you have an A team and you have a B team that you can send. So in our pool of additional survivors, we could start to roll up more characters to have enough people to go out, and you can just send a B team to go get food. They will essentially have a roll to go, a roll to return, all on their own, while you then go on your A team mission and do the narratively satisfying stuff, right? So you can go do another mission and have 2 things occurring where people are scouting, gathering resources, and then hopefully refilling your banks at home. So that said, we won't need to go too deep into everybody and like have a bunch of people nominated, like and created. We don't need to get into that because we're not doing a super long campaign. So we can, like what I'm saying is a mission objective for the B team. We can be getting food while you guys maybe do any other mission that might come up. So that is a nice thing for this next mission phase.
Nice.
That said, moving towards that part of the cycle. So what we do is we have a completed mission phase. Then we come back. We roll a return. We roll for what happened while you were away, and then performing basic downtime actions. And then you normally end your session. We're just gonna try and complete another one of those loops real quick. So this is where your session would normally start. Okay. So we know what just happened last mission while we were out, and we know where our current standing is with resources, and we get to set our own objective. Now we can always play with time and stuff. You don't have to have a day-to-day cycle of stuff. This is much more narrative focused. So let's say after this mission, how much time you guys want to have happened, in the last couple days? Or sorry, not last couple. From mission to mission. Before we go back out, how much time do we want to have passed? How much do you want to fast forward?
I feel like not a full week, but like most of a week,
Yeah.
like maybe 3-4 days.
Yeah.
That feels in terms of like running out of food when we just got food, that feels appropriate for
you can't wait too long. Yep. Yeah. So, we'll say about 3 days pass. And during that time, there are no signs of these silhouettes whatsoever. But I want to say, let's see who. All right, so Conlon, I'll let you pick what character at the camp. It can be one that you've made. It can be one that you feel like this is narratively appropriate for. But somebody at camp begins to have a lot of these strange dreams, and those dreams are of a monolith, a massive flat slate object poking out of a horizon, mostly just rectangular, with like a portion of it kind of cut out near the top, almost somebody like punched a hole but missed the center and clipped off the edge of the side, so almost like a crescent shape near the top of that rectangle, with all of these bits of like strange rocks orbiting it, almost like the rings of Saturn, just like in the sky. And they've been having this dream night over night for the last 2 nights, I guess. So the last 2 nights they've had this dream, and specifically, they feel like they know where that is, as if it's calling to them. Who's this happening to?
I think I'm gonna tie this in with the like loss of our food resource. I'm gonna say that Gui Fiery, the chef of our party, who I think has probably been working in the kitchen, is like, because of these dreams, the sleep schedules have gotten kind of fucked, and we are now, he keeps accidentally misplacing kitchen supplies and letting various things eat them, or just food's going missing for whatever reason.
Yeah. All right. So Gui Fiery, I'm just gonna call him Gui.
Perfect.
Yeah. So Gui Fiery's been having. No, I just did it again.
You did it again. It's in your head now.
Dang it!
Get
out of my head,
brain worm.
Brain worm.
So yeah, Gui like wakes up in a sweat, and we just kind of zoom in on him, and the camera just sees like that reflection in his eye of this monolith just looming on the horizon. And I think that other people at the camp on that second day there just see Gui at the edge of the camp. Maybe Martha's coming by and doing her rounds or something, and Gui is just standing on the edge of camp, like looking in the distance, just with like a dead look on his face, kind of drawn more towards a bit more north. And Martha sees him standing there looking out, looking kind of emotionless, and then he just turns after about maybe a few minutes of Martha seeing him doing this, and then he heads back to camp. This is just the wee hours of the morning kind of thing.
Like wee hours.
And what's that? The ones where you wake up to pee. The Gui hours.
yeah. Gui Fiery hours.
There you go. The Gui Fiery hours. I feel like he really is good at like spicy food. Fiery.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So as Gui maybe like comes back to camp and Martha sees that occur and whatnot, what would you guys like to build towards? Do you guys want to have Gui in the information, or Martha having seen Gui like looking weird, kind of prompt you all to investigate this monolith? Do you want to go back towards something else that was interesting, or do you want to just maybe explore to see what else is out there? This is where you get to kind of control the mission prompts, yourself, in a way where it's like there's threads that you can pursue, You could go and gather food yourself, and crap could happen while doing that. You can send a B team there. You could send a B team to the monolith. Like,
That
you
feels
just
like,
can.
That feels wrong on all levels. My
I mean, why not?
Fun.
but fun, hilarious, but also wrong on all levels.
That's how you end up with a dead B team.
It's like maybe that is like if you're thinking of this as a show, maybe that's the funnier, better option, because it's just like it's probably just Gui is just being weird. Just go check it. Like this is David talking. Is like the stubbornly skeptical. Like it's probably nothing. He probably had way too spicy food and he's just hallucinating something. Go look for it. Come back. Tell us that it's nothing, and we'll move on with our lives. And like they're not prepared. They don't know what's going on. That I hated it and now I love it. But that's my pitch. But
I'm in. In that, I'm now forcing you guys to make this a mission objective because Gui doesn't come back.
No, not Gui. Gui, no.
So Gui goes after seeking some semblance of advice from a stubbornly skeptical helper of David. David's like, just go check it out and leave me alone. And so Gui does. And so after this third day has gone on and Gui has been not back whatsoever, not in sight, we're out of food. Now we need to send some people to go get Gui, because he went in pursuit of this strange monolith that was calling him in his dreams more to the north.
It's the Gui rescue mission.
So who are we sending out? And then who's on the B team to go get some food? We also can just keep it nebulous on the B team because we have people that have to be resting right now. So we'll just say we assign a B team to go get food. That's fine.
Who do y'all want? Who do y'all want to take out there?
Keeping in mind, you can't choose somebody that you just came back with.
So no Wallace, George, Hope, Steph, and David. Those are all locked in on staying in camp.
I mean, you could kind of take Wallace, but you'd be taking Gromit. Child endangerment, you know. So for those of, I'm going to talk to our audience for a second here. So for those of you that were not here for session 1, all of these characters that got created during the crash scene are not, they don't belong to a player. This is a Troupe style game. So this is about telling a story with a cast of characters together. And with that is making characters that we are not so precious about, but we can allow other people to have influence over, to try them out and try different things. And like I personally like it because it pushes us to maybe stretch outside our comfort zone, play characters that we wouldn't normally. I play basically the same character every time I play Dungeons and Dragons, and anything that lets me kind of be a wizard, I'm playing a wizard. So this kind of pushes you outside of that. So for right now, we're looking at the other cast members, essentially that all got created because everybody made 2 characters in character creation. And we're looking at who could go out on this mission right now and who would be a good fit to go out on this rescue mission. So with that in mind, do we got any 3 characters to go scouting out on this mission?
In my classic, I'm going to make this more complicated than you told us it was.
You rolling one up?
No. Can I play Gui? Can I be?
Oh my God.
Can he be gone for the first half or whatever, and like, you know, however we get there, I'm cool with sitting back for the that bit of it. Can I do Gui?
I mean, yeah, I don't want to say no to that. Like, that's interesting.
That's too good of a hook.
Yeah, but you can play 2. So who else are you sending?
Ah, man.
You were all in on the Gui plan.
I'll let the others decide. I know, yeah.
Part of me wants to send Martha because she was there, saw him, like spaced out. Maybe there's some sort of like weird survivor guilt, like I'll go get him back kind of thing going on. But I'm also just in love with Martha, and I've been doing a lot with her so far, so I didn't want to like dip.
She hasn't gone on a mission.
She hasn't gone on a mission, but she's been active in camp. So I'm pitching it that I can take Martha, but I've got an easy second pick if people want to veto that to get some fresh blood in this.
I personally like Martha, you know, because I don't get to vote. But basically because like that personal responsibility of like he kind of just wandered off, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's David's fault, but like, you know, she saw him being weird the other day, and then she didn't notice him actually leave camp, and so like there could be guilt there of like I should have known. Maybe he was having heat stroke and like completely getting weird and just wandered out and I didn't notice, or my team didn't notice him leaving camp. That'd be my 2 cents on that.
Sorry, I'm about to sneeze.
Taylor, are you inclined towards anything?
Depending on whether or not we were able to get Ripley's lung reinflated or not.
Rip was my backup, and I was as I was looking through all of them, I was like, "There's a lot of people with some really serious injuries, and that's why they weren't on the first mission."
Do we want? We can roll for some medical supplies. I think that's a fun. So I think to resolve something like that, we've had time, but we haven't had a ton of medical supplies. So I think that's probably like, if you want to resolve an injury on that level, it's gonna take more rolls of our resource die. So I think that to resolve that's gonna be 3 rolls.
3 rolls?
3 rolls.
That die is going.
We got a high one though on that, right? Like we got a
D6.
Yeah, it's a D6. Never mind, it's not as good as I thought. Yeah,
it was a D8, and then
if you get it,
I'm happy to go Peter.
I mean, here's the other thing. Can we use Ripley, but she's just got a punctured lung, and it's just like
I would say she's recovering from a punctured lung, essentially.
She's good enough to move around,
so that's
but
definitely that's not fun for huffing and puffing but yeah, you can take her out.
Food crates.
Yeah, because I mean, Martha's missing fingers, and there's no amount of rolling that resource die that's gonna fix that one.
Yeah,
she's not bleeding out, but you don't.
Not until you find
digits.
some extra fingers.
Yeah, I am gonna roll for her HP and drive though right now.
Oh, for Ripley's.
Yeah, or no, for Martha's.
Okay, I'll roll quickly for Rips. 2d4.
All right. Not to again just like break your game more, Andrew.
No, do it. Break it. That's the best part.
So, can I play Gui in the past?
Ooh.
So they're following Gui, right? They're going after him.
Yeah.
So anytime there's a challenge or something, can Gui roll as what he did in the moment that he found that?
Yes.
As they're coming upon it,
That's
right?
great.
So like we can
love it.
We can be together.
So it's like a split screen.
Yes.
It's like a split screen moment. Oh man, I love that.
It's that edit where it's like you see Gui moving forward, like what he did, and then it's the same shot, but like they change like, the lighting on it a little bit, and then it's the other people moving in too to follow.
Yeah. Well, and I like the idea of it being actually just 2 people that are going on this quick scouting. Like, where did he go?
Where did he go?
You, Martha, and somebody else, go check this out.
Yeah. Martha, who can't do anything with her hands, and Ripley, who's wheezing in the corner. Go figure this out.
Oh boy. Yeah,
love this.
So
definitely.
Rip who runs from conflict.
Yeah.
And then
she's not running
and then the
anywhere with
B team, I think, are we having them focus on just food?
I think food. Yeah, that's real bad.
Yeah.
The kitchen's an empty.
Yeah. Yep. Which is also a safer journey. Just for quick reference, like that is
because we've
been going to the mesa, avoiding the tar pits, and then getting food, as opposed to getting all the way to like through the woods, further down, and getting like they'd have to traverse a whole nother zone at that point and deal with whatever else. So
nice.
I think it's probably a good bet.
Could I?
All right.
Before we go, because we still had downtime actions, I think, or at least Martha.
So that's where I was going. Yeah.
Okay. For Martha's,
people that are going, they get 1 downtime action. This is basically preparatory, and you can lump into that downtime action list that is not delivered to anybody at this point that doesn't exist. Basically, it includes like training and essentially like the equivalent of a flashback, but it's just an event. So if you look at a good example, which I think we're on a ad break, but at least I got an ad. But yeah, and militia, like under security. So like this is one of the functions that security can do. But you could do this kind of a thing as a downtime activity where it's train a survivor to act as a guard, keeping the camp safe, especially at night, add an event to that character's sheet titled basic training, giving them rudimentary experience with weapons. So basically, boom, you've got a tag to fire a gun.
Yep.
So that kind of stuff is something that you can perform as a downtime activity in preparation of going on a mission, especially when you want one that you know might come in handy.
I was gonna pitch Martha doing that with Rip before we go.
Okay.
Because it's basically this like maybe sensing that like one of her tags runs from like her flaws runs from conflict. Maybe having picked up on that while they've been in camp together, and just be like, look, here's some basics, honey. Let me just quick run you through on how we handle these things, to like make sure that she's not just gonna bolt at the first sign of anything and leave Martha to dry. So yeah, roll the security resource die, eh?
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
It doesn't say roll the resource die. You can just
It doesn't
do this.
say that.
It doesn't say it unless
Yeah.
it's supposed
So
to say
this
it.
is
Playtesting.
This is a downtime activity. That's a different one. So this is not. Yeah, this is just an action. This
Okay,
is not a
cool.
resource die. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so I can just do that for free. So now Rip has basic training on her event list.
Yeah, I would say probably you also could just use a resource die to do that to more characters if you're trying to gear up a bunch of people that didn't have downtime activities to spend.
Yeah.
Or they spent them otherwise, but yeah.
Cool.
I believe I have one downtime activity left. I think because I rolled Inspire. I would for B team. I'm not sure how this works exactly. Can I use the engineering die to craft like a cart? Basically,
for now, yeah. Let's not worry too much about actions. Right now, I'm still figuring exactly what I want it to be. Currently, I'm leaning towards I think I might need to make more action economy for the coming and going stuff. So, yeah. What do you want to make?
I think just like a cart, like finding some big wheels and stuff, like or and kind of in that idea of like having struggled with the auto dock thing or the hyper dock thing, like one that can get across the sand easier, just so they can bring back more food.
Like kind of like a sled, something to go across the silica. Yeah, definitely. That should be pretty easy to make. I would say essentially you're gonna roll your resource die effectively with advantage, right? Like that should be pretty easy to make. So as long as you don't get 1, 2, 3 twice, you don't deplete.
I got a 5 on the first one.
Nice.
So.
Great.
Yeah.
There you go. So yeah, you got a little sled for y'all to take with you. Yeah, I think we're ready to head out. Do we want to take another quick break, or are we good to go?
I'm good to go.
I'm good.
I'm good to go. I'm just making sure. All right.
Yeah.
It's always one of those classic lulls. So here we go. So as the events of the camp have been a bit tumultuous, people returning injured, some feeling inspired by the events that occurred, still having lost members of the crew. We have set out to recover Gui, the our cook, the person that has helped keep a lot of us feeling like humans, eating food that actually tastes pretty good, cobbled together from rations and whatnot. So venturing out through the sands, we are going to enter into kind of our traversal mode. So this is going to need to be led by one of the two of you, and Gui is going to need to do his own traverse action. So one of the two of you is going to lead up. You spend a drive to traverse through this zone. And then there isn't any insane roll beyond that. So it's just spend your drive. So we kind of get our side by side of Gui just like trudging out in the middle of the night, and we see that juxtaposed to the we've got Martha and with a gun just slung over her shoulder, and our who was it? Sorry, Rip. Rip kind of in tow. So as you're venturing out through the sands, walking through sand sucks. I personally cannot stand it. It's so slow. It slows you down. It gets very, very grueling. And I think that as you're venturing more northward, we can kind of see to the west a bit the mesa, kind of just that faint black strip on the horizon fading as we venture upward. And oh my god, sorry. It gets everywhere.
I was typing it too, Matt.
There it is. And so, all right, Star Wars references are done. I'm just kidding. We need to go get some power converters.
I stepped in
so
I was gonna go to Tashi's station to get some power converters.
Venturing northward, in the direction of where Gui's footsteps, there's just that faint wind-blown, divots in the distance. The trail,
the smell of
that
garlic
Gui
salt
left
on the air.
I think he's heading to Flavor Town.
Flavor Town.
Oh my gosh. So we're gonna roll for the next, essentially as we're exploring in this direction. This again, you have the option of running point crawl or hex crawl, doesn't really matter. I probably will run this as hex crawl the majority of the time, just because I like the more granularity of it. But nonetheless, as we begin to scout ahead into this, I will have Gui is going to perform our scout action because he went first. So this is right here. I'm finding my stuff.
And I went.
in a different place.
Yeah, I spent the drive for the duo between Martha and Rip because I've got 6 drive, so Martha's got plenty to spend.
Okay, so sorry, I have so many places of sheets and stuff. Okay. As we are venturing through the sands, I think that it starts to, again, like we get near the edge of the desert and it's getting rockier, and it's definitely more like caverns and like honeycombed rock in the distance. None of it's like necessarily the same volcanic black stuff that we saw near that mesa, but it's less desert and more like Nevada looking, just kind of like lots of large rock formations throughout the distance. But it's still all that like yellowy white of the silica. And as you're venturing under this like archway that's been like eroded away by wind and the swirling sands, you can kind of see as the biome begins to shift in the distance. Well, let's go ahead and roll me, Conlin. Could you roll me a D12? And we're gonna do it 3 times. Tell me them one at a time though.
11.
11. Ooh. Okay. Yep. Go ahead.
I don't know if I like that.
That's got me worried.
Yeah. 8. Okay. And what was the last one?
It was another 8. Should I re-roll or?
8. Nope.
Cool. Okay.
This is cascading tables.
Nested
Multiple tables. Yeah, got it.
Yeah,
we love that.
Interesting. So, I'm going to introduce our audience and y'all to a part of the universe of Frontier Space. I think I've talked about it a little bit. It is called the Wraith. It is something that is known about on many of these frontier worlds. It's kind of like the biggest problem out there. And that this is, it's somewhere between like a substance or something alien and living. But when the first colony ships arrived in frontier space, they encountered what they thought was a form of like dark matter. They couldn't see what it was exactly. And it began to permeate the hulls of the ships, and tons of people aboard the ships became infected with something that would look akin to the Venom symbiote. It began to change people into very monstrous forms, and those subsequently mindless, evil, like animalistic forms began to attack other people on these colony ships. Very bad moment. They lost about a third of the human population that was traversing at that point. And on these colony worlds that had been formed in advance by these massive like terraforming AI drone factories that then would go and essentially like 3D print cities and whatnot for them in advance of their arrival. They arrived not even knowing that all of this Wraith presence was throughout the system. They hadn't exactly scouted it in that fashion, and the way that communication works, that sort of relayed information was not able to get back. So as they arrived, they encountered this for the first time, but as they began to explore the worlds that had been prepared for them, they began to see that there was both alien life that was native, but then there was also Wraith infected and symbiotic alien life throughout the system. The things that were most notable when things were infected with Wraith were borderline like impossible feats of strength or physiology, or things that broke the way we think of physics and chemistry fundamentally. So things that were able to warp or change their form and become less mutable, and alter their physiology, their chemistry, their chemical makeup, down to like there are creatures that were able to adjust and form the methane to run along cracks in their carbon-laden body, and they can snap their fingers, ignite that methane, and now you've got a flaming golem. Like that kind of weird stuff, right? This is very strange physiology that is achieved by symbiosis with this substance. So knowing that is throughout frontier space as a problem, that's why lots of kids go off to battle school, to be part of the super military industrial complex, to deal with going to these worlds and, you know, a la Helldivers or, you know, what have you, Starship Troopers, you know, rain down on this planet, take out the indigenous life and make it your home. But the thing is, a lot of these homes that they're hoping to occupy are like actual cities that were prepared by drones and like functional 3D printed stuff by super AIs and whatnot. So that's a little bit background on the world. Why does that matter right now? Well, you rolled, and I'm going to let you, with that information, we are entering into this next zone, and it is more of this canyon zone, right? Like it's a lot rockier. You know, we're looking at a lot of cracks in the earth and, you know, caverns that we can venture through, but we are beginning to see some signs of some sort of plant life. And I'm going to let you define that a little bit, but then also, more notably, there are signs that this plant life is infected with Wraith. So there is clearly a hazard heading into this zone. And I also want to point out that as we're venturing in through these canyons and we're making out this strange flora, we also begin to see, just peeking out of the horizon line, maybe over some of these large rock features, is a singular rectangular shadow in the distance of the skyline. It almost looks like a building, but it just looms in the distance, the monolith that Guy Fieri had been dreaming about. So help me out, Conlon. What kind of alien plant life first, and then infected with Wraith, are we dealing with in this area? Because it's not necessarily like out to get you in its base form, but when it's infected, it's far bigger problem.
Yeah, okay. I think I'm gonna go wild here. I think they're like plants, like sort of like air plants, but
like
instead of
cacti-ish.
yeah, and like they don't necessarily have like root structures, but they I think sit in maybe some kind of like ball of water that like they kind of somehow on their own, whether they affect gravity or like surface tension or what, like they make this water that like sort of sticks together as their like roots, and so they can like kind of roam on their own. And then I think from there, I feel like the Scourge, not the Scourge, the
I've been doing it in my head this entire time.
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
The Wraith infected one is that, but instead of water, it's like the Wraith. It's like a liquid, like Wraith kind of thing that's like makes up the bottom.
More
and
brackish
it's
and
yeah,
sticky. Yeah, you can see it all throughout our lovely layout. All that black sticky stuff. That's
amazing.
Dangerous. Don't touch it.
But I wanna.
Okay, very cool. So as you're venturing into this area, liquid wraith. Oh God.
Canned water beverage.
Yeah, as Matt said last time, if you're not here for chat, you're missing out. People are funny. Yeah. So as you're venturing into this canyon, almost like a tumbleweed, I feel like one of these. Probably an old dead one just kind of rolls on by in front of us as we hear the like little whistle in the background of like high noon. And as you're venturing further, we see the juxtaposed night shot of Gui as he ventures through these canyons with Martha in the daytime, with Rip. And I want to know what and this will kind of retroactively define some stuff. Man, Conlon really out here just making this complicated in the best way. So I'm gonna ask,
stress testing.
What does Rip see that shows us evidence that Gui was here? Because it's no longer like these footsteps that we're seeing, but we're actually seeing clear sign that Gui was right here, venturing in this direction.
I reckon
And don't kill him. Don't say it's his head.
No.
He's leaving behind fingers.
Oh my
Martha
God. Martha's, yeah. He's mine.
Oh my gosh.
The fruits that we'd found and were rationing, they were described as being like in a hard coconut shell first, weren't they?
Yeah.
So I'm imagining that Gui had taken a couple of them to sustain them on their journey. So we're seeing like those husks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
How dare you assume that Gui isn't using them like the coconuts in Monty Python and
That's
look,
incredible.
Gui only has two hands, multiple coconut or multiple.
He's got his
forget what they're called.
galloping.
Yeah,
It's on here somewhere. Wait. It's the Boris berries. He has the galloping Boris berries, and then he's got
That's
the
it.
food supply Boris berries.
There it is. Oh man. Awesome. Well, so as we find these husks, I think we cut ahead to a bit further through this canyon as Gui last night, was venturing down through these rocks and whatnot. And I think that we're not going to do like a full like combat encounter or anything, but I definitely think that Gui encountered these wraith infected like air plants. Give me a name for this plant real quick. What does Gui call him in his head right now? Like scary meatballs or like
that's a spicy meatball. Scare plants.
Scare plants. Perfect. I love it. So as he's heading down into this area, what we're gonna do is I wanna roll, and then you're gonna tell me how he interacts with them, because he might take some damage and stuff like that, but it won't be like this full encounter. So go ahead. I think that to help you with your tags, this is probably, I would imagine that some of these air plants, like almost like spiders, can use the sticky wraithy stuff to like descend down, depending on like maybe where humidity's at or whatnot. But yeah, that I think one just kind of comes down sensing more of the moisture in Gui, and descends down towards him just right on top. So I think this is more an awareness thing of a potential threat and surprise. I will say I'm gonna give him a negative tag because he's kind of singularly focused right now on these weird dreams. So that means technically you would need 3 tags to get to affinity.
Cool. Okay.
How
So
aware is Gui in the first place?
Yeah. So are we thinking if they're like descending from somewhere, does this feel kind of like a smaller area? Like a
I feel like he could be not necessarily, like it could be like just another archway of like this sandstone like structures, or like overhanging rock.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Man, yeah. I was gonna say fear of small spaces might tie in there. If it is a bit tighter, but he's a little more on edge maybe. I
mean,
right,
you can set that scene. I'm fine with it being a tight space. Like that makes sense. I'm just saying it could be either way.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll do that. Let's say like he kind of has to like squeeze through like a smaller gap almost, like in some of these cliffside like canyon-y rocks.
Yep.
And that's sort of a they're lying in wait kind of thing. So yeah, I'm gonna say I'm gonna spin that to be that he's like on edge a little bit, and so he's a little more ready for like something might be like jumping out at him.
I love that. Yep.
I don't know that I'm gonna get to 3, but I was also gonna say, can he have brought like a chef's knife?
Yeah.
So that because he's like or like he's good with like knives probably is like a chef background.
That makes sense.
So
yep.
I feel like he would have brought something to open the coconuts with at least.
Yes.
Gotta open the boar's berries.
Gotta open the boar's berries.
Man, I don't know. I don't really have. I mean, painting and shock-induced catatonia don't really feel like either one.
I think that's
applies there. Yeah. All right. So
all right. So that would be basically
that's
rolling
2, but that's down to 1. Yeah.
Yep. So you're gonna roll 2 and take the higher.
I'm gonna spend a drive to re-roll that. Do I know the difficulty yet?
It is a 5.
A 5. Okay. Yeah, I am gonna spend a drive because I rolled a 1 and a 3.
Ooh.
Nope, that's a 1 and a 1.
Damn. There you go. So I think that, and another bit of evidence that Martha is probably picking up on, as you begin to go through these cracks, you see a little bit of like Matt, what do you see? Reverse timeline DM what you see as because you said you rolled 2 1s, so basically that's going to be a major consequence for you. Practically, just go ahead and give him 2 wounds, and then narratively, Matt, what do you see to tell us what happened?
I think what Martha sees is like moving through all the plant life, and like we're seeing these same like scare plants, and they're just sort of like
descending.
Some of them are descending, and it's just this like it's this weird like little like almost like a laser maze that you're going through, like not.
They almost like mechanically like move up and down to like different pitches. I feel like.
I think maybe on one of them that looks like kind of wounded and like messed up, like is in the process of dying. There is just like a chef's knife stuck in there. Along with like the first layer of skin, like something about what this like thing is, like made it like, and she's looking at it and just sort of like touches like the tip of the rifle to it and just sees this little like ice come up. It's whatever this like bit of wraith is doing is like flash freezing stuff. So it froze like the first layer of his skin to the knife as he was just like noped out of there and just ripped it off and ran.
Yeah, and like with the rifle, you kind of bump it and it just like spins a little
Mhm.
bit as you carefully get around it. And as you do, you almost like ferrofluid see like little black tendrils just kind of
Mhm.
like reach and then retract from you.
Yeah.
And as again, I'm seeing all of this as like parallel split screen the whole time.
Yeah.
I love this because it's like we're seeing that happen. So while you're poking it with a rifle, we see him just like stabbing this ball that came down and bonked him on the head. He's like, and then rips his hand off and he's like, takes off down through the crevasse. And as we see him kind of like make his way out, holding his hand, you know, in so much pain, looking around, you know, he rips some of his beautiful flame shirt off to wrap up his hand. You know, he starts to look around, you look up and you can see in the distance, maybe, you know, like a mile down, through these rocks and stuff, is this massive monolith. Like, it's probably like 100 feet wide and it's very long. This is like a skyscraper in terms of scale. And it doesn't seem to be in the ground. It again is floating above the ground, like a massive elongated like tablet of this slate kind of gray, almost marbled at points thing. And as Gui looks up into the sky, he can see these like just shards of rock and debris and stuff all orbiting it as if gravitationally centered on this monolith. And the camera just kind of pans around to the front of him as he looks up at the monolith. And I'm gonna have you roll right now for Gui. And this is risky. So this is a mental attack on Gui right now. So I would like you to roll a defense test. This isn't necessarily unique beyond a normal test, but it's a defense test. And this is against a mental attack. So if you have anything that might help steal him in your tags, let me know.
I mean, I've got the other two, shock-induced catatonia and painting. I'm trying to think if like if painting could kind of roll in there as something that's like a, you know, being all right.
He can handle weird abstract ideas.
Yeah.
He's too busy appreciating the space to be hurt by
The
it.
beautiful and committing it to memory to paint that sort of builds like an internal fortress.
I'll give it to you. Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yep. I'll give you 1 on that. So you're going to be rolling to take the higher. And I'm going to tell you the DC beforehand. This is also a 5.
Oh, God, okay.
Come on, you were rolling
Here
so
we go.
well.
This could kill Gui.
Hey?
Could kill Gui. We'll see.
No, not Gui.
No, it's a 6. I got it. We're good. I got 3 and a
Nice.
6.
Yes.
So I'll give our camera a bit of the peek here. So as he's looking at this monolith, his eyes begin to just like the iris just gets so small it's a pinprick of black in a sea of white. And in that moment, like you just see a third eye like blink on his forehead and then close and then descend back into his head as his eyes go back to normal and he steals himself. And we cut back to the other group as they kind of walk up on the same spot, facing the monolith. And I think that's a good place for us to stop. So we're gonna leave it right there as you two step up towards this massive monolith towering over the landscape in search of Gui. What could it be?
What could it be that has taken Gui?
Could it be me?
Could it be me?
Well,
getting
thank you guys
weird.
so much. This has been a blast. We're like on a weird part of the cycle because of tutorializing it, so that's going to be a thing for me to figure out how to do. But regardless, this has been a blast, y'all. I am super excited to dig more into this, see what happens next time. And the next time we play will be our conclusion. So we will be playing next week, same time, same amazing people, hopefully all of them. And if you have not yet, check out the campaign over on Kickstarter. We are funded, but I would love to get you a book. So you can get the PDF. I think it's $10. There are print copies that I'm going to be creating as well. More money that goes into this campaign, the better the book is going to get. I'm not doing stretch goals because I believe in getting you what I said I was going to do. And the more people that throw in on it, I can put more art into it. I can put more time into it. And I might even be able to hire some of my amazingly talented friends to help me with it. So please go check it out. The campaign page is in the doobly-doo chat right now. And also thank everybody here at Tales for having me. This has been a blast.
Thank you to Andrew for
So
running
much
us
fun.
through it. This is super fun.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Amazing.
Also, it's been a
This has been great.
been a great week for Third Eyes here on the network. I brought
Right.
back a recurring villain on Tales Does Tales.
I caught that.
Likes to
I caught that.
slump third eyes on people. So yeah, we're very ocularly inclined this week here on Tales of Initiative. And thank you so
There
much,
you go.
everybody, for tuning in and chatting with us, having a good time. Absolutely go check out the Kickstarter. This is amazing game, amazing zine. I'm super excited to have it on my shelf because I already backed it and I want it. I want it.
Same.
I need it.
Yeah, me too.
Tune in next week for more Out of Orbit on Wednesdays, more Total Party Chaos on Mondays, and more Tales of Tales on Tuesdays. We just finished our little mini campaign of The Beckoning Dream, and we'll be heading back into the dungeon, doing more dungeon crawling on Tuesdays when we get back. And I don't think I have any other announcements, any other last bits of hypitude to say. I mean,
Check out the other cool projects in
Yes.
Zine Quest and other Zine Month projects over on BackerKit. You know, like Adam Bass did some stuff over on BackerKit, tons of horror games. You know, there's I've got some friends that are doing, there's 2 different projects from friends that are doing games for kids. There's one that's like all about storybook stuff and like settings. Another one is designed more as a TTRPG for kids. There's so many cool things out there. Check us out on Blue Sky. That's another good one too. I talk about games all the time over there. So yeah,
yeah,
that's all I got.
there's all those great
Are
games.
you ready for more tales?
Always!
Nailed it.
We're gonna go on a raid. Stick around, everybody. See you next time. Bye-bye.